Fully was not expecting to wake up this morning and make one of these videos. Seems that the Spud Engineering account is very slowly but surely turning into like a vlog, philosophy, legal kind of channel. I don't mind. It's good. It's nice to have a place to put that stuff up. But we've got to talk about something super important. Why I don't share spots. You see, recently I've had a spate of people who have done everything in their power to actively go out and hunt areas that I hunt. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's how we all get our starts, right? I'll be the first to admit that if I see an area in someone else's post that I know, I'm like, oh, that could be an area I can go check. And when I get there, I go and have a look, and sometimes you'll see someone else's workings. Maybe you'll take a pan or two out of what they were doing to see what they were getting, and then often Gadsy and I spend a whole bunch of time reclamating the ground that those people left open. It is natural human behavior to sort of gravitate towards that kind of knowledge. It's what we all want. When I first started, I would put up the question on a lot of forums saying, hey, I'm brand new to this, where can I go? Hoping that someone would give me sort of a specific location. But the problem is, a lot of people, I got to come around in a circle here. A lot of people don't want to give away their secret spots because they are hard to find where good gold deposits are. And when a spot is difficult to find and you put in all the work, you don't necessarily want to share it with a total stranger. You want to bring your good mates along with it. And that's okay. The problem happens on that scale when their mates bring mates, and then their mates bring mates who bring mates, and then the area gets turned upside down. That can happen if you don't have a social media following. I have 500,000 people following me across 2 platforms. It is grossly irresponsible of someone like me to put up on a map, hey, go to this spot. Because sure, 500,000 people aren't going to go to that spot. They're spread right across the world, and even the local ones aren't necessarily going to have the resources or the time to go to that exact spot. But it only takes a few. If I put up exact GPS locations like some YouTubers do, and then invite a bunch of people to go there and turn the place upside down, that falls back on me because I'm responsible for the destruction of that area. It will happen. There will literally be hundreds of people who are capable and able and willing to go to an area that I put up on my channel, and that's why I don't share locations like that. The last thing I want to do is be responsible for the utter destruction of some areas. It's a horrible feeling as it is going back to certain areas that I know people track me just to get to, such as places like the Hard Rock Mine where we found the reef. That has been turned upside down by a couple of very irresponsible prospectors who have brought jackhammers in to take off the face. Hence, we stopped going there. We stopped filming videos. We leave it alone. And the reason we do that is because we want those people to stop. We don't want to encourage them to go back there anymore. We want them to think that there's no gold there anymore. And for all intents and purposes, there isn't now because they went in with jackhammers. Gold does funny things to people, and it baffles me because it's not the main driver for me. I like going on the treasure hunt and finding a little bit. The money side of it isn't really what I'm driven by when it comes to gold. A lot of people are driven by it, and that's where that level of greed comes in, where someone is willing to take a jackhammer out and to do that kind of damage to the bush. And it is super irresponsible of other YouTubers to be like, oh, free GPS locations. Oh, go to this track because that's where this guy goes. At the moment, Gadsy and I are going around and having to reclamate areas that were always fine before that person and those people put up the coordinates of where to get them. And now we're finding huge high banker holes, huge holes dug in areas that don't have any gold, and damage to things like trees and bushes and shrubs, which you're not meant to do. If you watch my videos, more often than not, outside of grass that we remove and moss sometimes, we will pile that stuff up, especially if it's moss to one side. We'll dig our hole, then we'll put that leaf litter and the moss and whatnot back on top, but we don't touch trees. Now we're seeing trees getting destroyed in some of the areas that have appeared in my videos. And we're having to go back there and try to reclamate it all because of the irresponsible sharing of locations en masse. That is the biggest issue. Anyone who decides to share a location that has a reach like I have on my channel is legitimately putting the hobby, the actual hobby, in major jeopardy. And if you are one of those people that goes out on a whim because someone has shared a location, make sure you do the right thing and prospect responsibly. Not only backfilling your holes, replace leaf litter where you can so that the topsoils are back where they're meant to be. I covered that in my most recent video that was up on Vogus Prospecting, that you got to put the topsoil back because that's where the microbes and the leaf litter and the bugs and all the stuff that make the bush, that's where they all live. And that is a really important point, is that it comes down to personal responsibility. If the person who gave you the location isn't responsible enough to know that they could do major damage to the bush, then it's up to you to have a personal responsibility if you go there to make sure that you leave it as good as you found it. So that's what we're going to be doing over the next week, going around to some of these spots and making sure that people haven't got back in there and stuffed them up. Perhaps I'll make a video on it. If you would like to see some of the reclamation that we're going to be doing of other people's workings, let me know.